Beautiful people, welcome back to another episode. I think this is 67. Yeah, this is 67, man. A Sunday Sessions with Rich podcast. Of course, I am your host. If you're new to my show, hit that subscribe button, like, comment. I will love to hear from you guys. So I started this podcast for anyone who is new to just create a platform and channel where we can give back to the collective. It's enough negative bullshit in the media, and I want to be that positive source for us, okay? On today's episode, guys, I have with me, she is a spiritual free agent and decoder who teaches the keys to ascensions. You can book her for readings, consultations as well. Indy, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm great, just chilling. We got a full moon today, so I'm like soaking in all of the energies. It's a lot.
I know yesterday we was chatting. It was yesterday's energy was weird.
Yes, the energy was really weird. It's a lot to break down, but basically it's just heavy energy right now, especially for people who like resonate with feminine energy or yin energy. So yesterday we were talking about it. I had like a lot of stomach cramps.
Yeah.
And stomach cramps is like solar plexus territory.
Okay.
So there was a lot of attacks towards like the solar plexus for a lot of the feminines. And I tweeted it out to see if anybody could like resonate.
Yeah.
And so many women like responded back saying that they either had dreams of an attack, dreams about a war, dreams about fighting. Some women woke up
he
with
was talking about that.
Yes, so many women woke up with bruises. So many women couldn't sleep that night. So I think it's really like an energy we're all picking up on now as the collective energy is really shifting. And I feel like people are getting more sensitive to everything going on right now. So it's a lot of
crazy. So for us who don't know you, Indy, let us know about you, what you got going on in your amazing services.
Well, like you said, I'm a spiritual free agent. So what that means is basically I am someone who I don't necessarily identify with one philosophy, one way of life, one way of spirituality. When I first got into the whole spiritual thing, I wasn't really into a community. I was very like loner energy, I guess you could say, very hermit-like. So when I did branch out and start to see all of the different communities, I kind of didn't necessarily resonate with just one. You know how people kind of like find their home and it's like one sort of energy or whatever. Yeah. I kind of don't feel associated to any sort of energy. Okay. So I always felt like I was a free agent, you know, in basketball, how like LeBron or somebody can kind of like, you know, they're not as, constructed to one team, one contract, one, you know, I'm not the biggest basketball like expert, but like I know on that level, a free agent is like you kind of can bounce around and have a little bit more freedom. So I always felt like that in life, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I felt like I'm the spiritual free agent. I kind of I have like different philosophies, different viewpoints than most people. I'm also what you could call like a decoder, I guess you could say. So basically people know me for decoding. So decoding is basically taking something and breaking down the actual meaning. So you could think about like etymology, for example. Mm-hmm. You have a word that we use every day in the English language or in another language, but really it has like many different meanings, you know, many different layers to it. So that's kind of how I look at life and everything that goes on not only an occult level, but on also my personal life and what I kind of go through spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. I like to break everything down to the root. I like to kind of dissect everything. That's kind of why I go by, you know, Dr. Indy Einstein. Yeah. I'm very scientific, I guess you could say, on that level. I'm a very curious person. And yeah, I'm just spiritual free agent. I'm a decoder. I am a reader. I do readings, psychic readings. I call myself like a psychic channeler or...
Yeah, I see you more as a channeler. I see you more
I channel information. I don't really call myself like a tarot reader because a tarot reader is someone who relies on cards. I get most of my messages through, I can sit here literally and like zone out and astral travel somewhere, get information, and bring it back to somebody. So I'm more of a channeler, psychic, I guess you could say. I do readings and I do life, I guess.
That is so awesome, because I'm a channeler as well, channel like the Galactic Federation and just like the angelic guides. So the fact that you can astral travel and just like go do that shit is cool. Like, what can we find? What can we book a consultation and a reading with you at?
I'm mostly known on Twitter, so you can just go to Twitter. Alchemist Indy is my @ or you can go to my website, drindeinstein.com. Everything will be laid out as far as like about me's, my readings, the process of my readings, my Patreon, everything you can find on my website.
Hell yeah. Guys, I'm going to include all of her links in the episode description and below this episode as well. I know you're a big Kanye. I don't even want to use the word fan. I feel like that's not even the correct word.
I was just actually talking about this the other day. I'm like, I'm not, obviously, like I don't want to say I expose celebrities. I just kind of let people know what goes on the occult level when it comes to celebrities in Hollywood and the industry. So I'm not really like a fan or a stan or an enthusiast when it comes to celebrities. But if there is one celebrity that I do kind of connect with, it's Kanye, but that's because our energies are more so meshed on a spiritual level. Yeah. So it's not an earth thing, basically. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's more of a spiritual.
Because I remember I was listening, I had subscribed to your Patreon last night, and I was listening to your DONDA segment. And then I remember you was talking about just like, you guys probably had like a life, like some kind of experience together in the past life or whatever. So you feel like protective over him, and you was given a reading. And I was listening to the listening album shit, and I remember you tweeting something like, "This don't feel right," and I was listening, I'm like, this don't feel right, because I was listening, I'm like, I don't hear him talking. It's just a lot of beats and other people rapping. Like, this just don't feel like Kanye. Like something going on.
No, yeah. So basically what I channeled with that is like that release for his album or whatever, the whole concert, that was very random.
It was like a ritual, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it was what I found out on like a spiritual level when I went in and did a channeling. It was more of a ritual thing. It wasn't his idea. It wasn't, his call. They kind of just threw him out there. And there's a lot that goes into it. I talk more about it on my Patreon. I don't like to go too deep into that.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like when it comes to that, not only because it's like a lot to put out for protective reasons, even though like I'm not necessarily afraid of anything. I don't live in fear. My thing is I've had so many lifetimes on earth.
That's amazing.
What's the worst that can happen? You pass on and you physically transition into something else. So I don't care about any of that. It's just like, it's best to play chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
So I do kind of keep that stuff more low key. I more keep that on my like Patreon, or we have a love society where it's like, we call it like the secret society, where we kind of can get into these topics without having to worry about anybody like, spying or anything. But like, what I will say is the way that was released it was not supposed to be like that on his energy. He had different plans for the album, and the way that it came about was very random. And I just want people to keep in mind that we're in Aquarius full moon energy. So something's dropping around energy like that. You have to ask yourself why.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's so wild, because I was because I think it was some guy who tweeted, I think it was yesterday, and he was like, Kanye's album's dropping on the 6th. I was like, I had a feeling it wasn't dropping, but I'm like, and then I was seeing what you meant when you was talking to your Patreon. Guys, if you haven't, I'll include the Patreon link below. But yeah, I appreciate the message you was dropping. Now I know how did you even like come? I always ask my co-host this, like, how did you even start your spiritual journey? Was it like you had a download from a guide, or how did it start for you?
I was always a spiritual person, or on my spiritual journey. I tell everybody we're always on our spiritual journey. You know what I mean? Like, it just,
big facts.
Even if you're a new soul, once you come into earth, once you're incarnated, you start your spiritual journey. And even before then, the process of creating your energy, that's your spiritual journey. So I technically have always been on the spiritual journey, but on an earth level, I've lived many lifetimes on an earth level, right? So I'm more of what someone would say is an older soul. So I was able to tap into my gifts and my energy and my wisdom from, I want to say, age 5 or 6.
That is wild.
Yes. And my mom always used to tell me how, like, when I was younger, a lot of family members and just people who she would like bring me around would always say my energy was just different. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, my family didn't know. I come from a Trinidadian family. They're not really, what they know about spirituality is like darker sides of it, which, like, I don't mind darker sides of things. You have light and dark always. You have to learn how to operate in both.
Right.
So I don't demonize darker sides of things. People have intentions, right? But they kind of see it in like a very twisted, malicious, malevolent, dark ways. And you have people who use stuff for that stuff, you know? But they see stuff like that in like not the best light. So they didn't necessarily attribute it to that, but they just knew my energy was kind of different.
Yeah.
And I got into astrology actually when I was 5 or 6. I used to read it in the newspaper.
Hey, you mean like just the horoscope? So you like just diving deep into astrology?
Yes. So I used to read, you know, in the newspapers how they have like the horoscopes or whatever for your sign.
Yeah.
I used to read my sign at 5 or 6. I knew it was a Leo, very young. And I knew that because my grandma was a Leo. So I was like very proud to be a Leo because my grandma was a Leo. So I thought it was really cool. So I would read the newspaper because she always got the newspaper on her porch. I would read it. I would go to the comics first. And then I would go to the horoscopes and I would dive into like the Leo horoscope or whatever. But I knew that there was more to it. So as I grew like 7, 8, 9, 10, I really was into reading. And I started to check out books on astrology. And my astrology journey, like, people never believe me, but my astrology journey really started when I was 5 years old.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah. So that's why I'm so like enmeshed into it. It's very natural. It's like another language to me. But as far as the spiritual side, is like seeing spirits, connecting with spirits, psychic channelings, I was always able to astral project, astral travel, connect to spirits at such a young age. But I didn't know what that was. I thought I was just dreaming or seeing people in my house who weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah, like, why are you here?
Yeah, so because I was younger and I didn't have anybody to guide me at that time, I shut it off. You can shut off your powers. You can like disconnect yourself from your third eye or your crown chakra or your physical abilities, your psychic abilities, I guess, right? So I shut it off maybe like 7 or 8 because around that time,
like, stop focusing on it, or just like stop giving you attention altogether?
It kind of just subconsciously happens when you're living in fear. It's low vibration, so it disconnects you from higher vibrational ways of being able to view things. So psychic abilities is really a higher vibrational thing to tap into. You can't really, you can get into it from a lower vibration, but it's a little bit more difficult. So because I was so afraid of it, I subconsciously kind of like turned it off because I was in fear.
You're in 5. You fear.
Yes, because I could see like spirits. And when I was younger, we had a lot of deaths in my family. No one that was like too immediate or anything. So like, it wasn't like anything crazy traumatic for me. I was just a kid and I'm noticing that, people in my extended family aren't here anymore. I didn't really understand it at the moment, but I would see them when I would go to sleep. I would see them in the astral realm. There's even a story that I told people sometimes about how when everything happened with Michael Jackson, not to say whether or not he really passed on or not, right? But when everything happened that day, he was in my room that night.
Whoa.
And I was afraid. I was freaked out. Like, no offense, but when you're a kid and you see Michael Jackson in your room, like, that is scary, right?
Yeah.
So things like that would happen around death to the point where I was so afraid that I would just turn it off. So I turned it off, and then it came back around 12 or 13. And I was going through like more depressive type energy at that time because of like family issues and like karma.
Absorbing it, right?
Yeah, karma I'm like clearing with my family. So it was a very hard time for me. I had to grow up very quick.
Wow.
So when I was younger, I kind of went through depression. And well, I experienced depression. I never like to say, oh, I had depression.
I don't do any. That's how I'm experiencing the emotion. Yeah.
Yes. So I experienced depression. I experienced anxiety, and I didn't want to go on pharmaceuticals or anything.
Yeah.
Even at such a young age, I knew not to mess with pharmaceuticals, you know? A part of it comes from spiritual knowledge and intuition, but a part of it also comes from me just being Caribbean. In Caribbean households, we don't mess with any of that at all.
Natural remedies.
Yeah, natural remedies for sure. So I did not mess with pharmaceuticals. My mom used to work at like a psychiatric? Yeah, like they have like some center where people can kind of go for like therapy and like healing and stuff like that. And she was very close to one of the doctors. She was like, you know, if you want to go on something, we can get you on something. I was like, no, I don't want to go on any of that at all. Yeah. So I got into yoga. Wow. And I got into meditating.
Wait, how old were you when you was doing this, by the way?
About 12 or 13.
That's wild. That's beautiful.
So so I used to wake up, I would go on YouTube, I would look up like meditative, you know, practices or sessions, I'll look up yoga sequences to follow. And once you get into that, yes, once you get into that, everything kind of just like unfolds.
It's a momentum. It's just a momentum effect after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So from 12 to I want to say like 18, I was just slowly over time researching, because obviously I'm still living the human experience. I'm still a teenager. So I'm not like crazy into it, but I'm like noticing certain things. I knew I wasn't into religion at that time. I knew certain things about life wasn't real, you know, as we knew it or as it was taught to us. So I was slowly just awakening my third eye. Until 18, I had the huge first, what I like to call not awakening, but remembering.
I use the same word. You just remembering all of this.
Remembering all of it, especially if you're an older soul. Like this is just stuff that your DNA holds.
You know this.
Yes, exactly.
You know this.
Exactly. So I had my first like remembering around 18, and it just. Ever since then, I'm 22, turning 23 in like 10 days. So from 18 to 23.
Big jump. Big jump.
Yeah. Big leaps. So much information, so many gifts awakening. It's been crazy.
That's amazing. So you came at such a pivotal time during the ascension of the collective, and that you awoken at 5 years old. Hey, that's
yes, and if you think that's impressive, the generation that's being born right now, what I did at 6, they're going to be doing at literally 2 years old. Like I've been seeing kids on like Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that who have the minds of people even more advanced than me, because like, not to toot my own horn, I'm pretty advanced, right?
Flex, you can flex on this show. You can flex on this show.
I could flex, right?
You can flex.
But yeah, like people, like there are kids and like spirits being brought into this world right now that are crazy talented, crazy advanced, crazy like spiritual, like enlightened, everything. So this is a time for all of this right now, seriously.
This is wild. I'm working on a book right now, and one of the reasons kind of want to, you know, I read the Napoleon Hills, I read, you know, so many different people, and I've always wanted to be an author. And I had tripped on some shrooms, I want to say like 2 years ago, and like the title of my book came to me and what it was about. And then as I started tapping into like my channeling abilities and just getting a message from my guys in the Galactic Federation, I had the blueprint. So my book, for if I do come back next lifetime, or whoever comes back next lifetime, you're going to wake up even faster. I didn't have my spiritual awakening until college, my spiritual remembering, and it's always some depressed shit. Yeah. I'm trying to bypass that and have people wake up a lot quicker so they can, navigate the reality, especially like the new souls that's coming in. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, no, seriously. And we literally have reached a period in time where we don't need souls to go through heavy karma like we had to awaken. These new souls coming in, they don't need the crazy intense family trauma or abuse and things like that to awaken. They can just awaken through parents like us who can guide them, or even like spiritual gurus or teachers and things like that to help guide them, so they don't have to go through that crazy karmic energy. We've like evolved past that.
I'm at a interesting part of this podcast journey. I'm used to talking about any and everything, but I was censored last week, so I'm like, fuck, gotta kind of be careful how I phrase shit. But I want to say something that I realize is happening. So let's just call it the medicine of the world that people, pushing at the current time. A lot of that is in direct correlation with trying to stop the new souls from coming in and having so many like reproductive issues. If hopefully I won't get censored for saying that. So that the new souls can't come in, kind of shit. I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yes, yeah. So infertility has been like a big plan going on for like who knows how long. Way before this like whole like virus has been going on. This is something that they have been pushing for ever. These plans like go on for like lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. So
you trying to I'm sorry about cutting you off. Is it so you're trying to stop essentially new souls from coming in, but for the game to continue going on, don't you need new souls to pop in?
Yeah, so you need new souls, but you would prefer those new souls not to be higher vibrational, to like shake shit up, shake up their plans. So you want to like bring in lower vibrational souls, or souls that are a little bit more NPC-ish, or even.
Can we talk about that, please? I'm all about.
Yeah, of course.
I'm a big component of, because like, okay, for example, let's say you're at a grocery store, right? And it's the same person that you see, but it's a part of them that's like, I don't think you're real. I think you're just that physical vessel with like I guess like you're non-active. So a soul isn't in your body, you're just a background character, just existing in this matrix space to fill a void. And it's another thing I've been playing around with too. Like, for example, out front of my flat, is there actually trees and cars outside? Does it exist until I give focus to it?
Until you look at it, yeah.
Until I look at it, or is it just like codes and numbers until I give it programming permission to shape how it is? That's still so.
What's crazy? I've seen those codes and numbers too, and I see the codes and numbers when I'm like drifting from the astral realm into actual reality. I see the codes and numbers, and it looks exactly like the Matrix. Like how it looks like the green numbers and the black background. It looks exactly like that when you like come through from like an astral realm or another reality into this one. It looks exactly like codes and numbers.
That's crazy. Okay, let me ask you this. So for the souls who are watching this episode, who are having this spiritual awakening, what advice for someone who is like, shit, Indy, shit, Richard, I'm new to this whole remembering who I am thing. How do I navigate this? It's censoring everything on YouTube. How do I find myself?
This is a hard question because everybody has an individual path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody has an individual path, and I can't even say go on YouTube or read books because that wasn't how it happened for me.
Yeah.
I'm what you could call like, I'm more into dark knowledge. So you have light knowledge and then you have dark knowledge. Light knowledge is knowledge that you can read in books. You can go on YouTube to find this information. You can go on google.com and like look up, this information. I'm more into dark knowledge, and most of the teachings that I do teach comes from dark knowledge.
Like the occult.
Yes. So the occult are things that are hidden, or things that are within you, or the Akashic, records, the astral library, I guess you can call it. So any information that I give comes from within. I just close my eyes, really quick, or I meditate, or I go to bed and I go into the astrals and I get information that way. I don't read. a lot of people are like, oh, what books do you read to get into spirituality, or what books? I don't.
Like there's no books. There's literally no books.
Yeah,
But,
the only books that I've ever read for spirituality was like astrology based,
yeah.
or if I'm trying to look up the definition of a word or the etymology of a word, I'll go like, Google and search up the etymology of a word, but I don't read really. I have a lot of spiritual books too. I don't read. I don't really have time. If I do read, I'm reading more books on finances, wealth, neuroscience, biology. I'm not really reading on things that I can just close my eyes to get the information on.
Tap in and get So I guess too, what I'm noticing, we have so much free will in this game that is, I'm noticing even now more than ever, it's even more hijacking that's going on. So if you're not, I found myself getting overrun with Twitter after a while, and I have to take a step back. I was like, shit, I'm seeing shit, and it's kind of trickling into my subconscious, and I don't want to manifest that shit. I need to take a step back, reaffirm what timeline I want to adopt myself to, and focus on that shit. But they're really pushing shit. They really pushing shit right now.
Yeah, everything is programming. I forget what movie it was, but Will Smith is in it. I can't remember the movie name, but basically he was showing how they got like some like business guy to vote for a certain.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the movie. I know something about. Yeah.
Yeah, so they like got a business guy. What was it, to vote on like a certain like idea or like plan or something by subconsciously planting that number.
Yeah.
Over and over into his reality.
Wasn't it like 3?
I think it was 5 actually.
5. That's what it was. Yep.
Yes. So they would put, or was it 33? I don't know. It was one of those numbers. But like they would put it like on like a door, or they would put it on a poster. And wasn't
like on somebody's jacket, some shit too?
Yeah, and you aren't consciously realizing you're seeing this number everywhere until you've seen it like maybe hundreds of times, and then you're picking up on the synchronization. So you really have to work on your discernment right now, because they're going to be throwing out a lot of synchronizations. You have to know which synchronization is programmed and false, and which synchronization is actually real. So you really have to work on spiritual discernment. If I give any advice to anybody out there spiritually, work on your spiritual discernment.
For someone who doesn't know what spiritual discernment is, what is it?
Spiritual discernment is basically, you can connect it to intuition. It's basically knowing the pure intentions behind something and knowing what to believe in, or what is real versus what is fake.
Yeah.
You're able to discern the truth from the fiction, basically. Yeah. And the way to do that is you need to not only ground yourself through, chakras or whatever, right? Ground yourself through your chakras, but also be willing to tap into the higher energy, the crown chakra and the third eye, and be willing to connect to your higher self, your spirit guides, your ancestors, so on and so forth.
That's so awesome. It's I'm realizing too that it's a lot of fear harvesting. I didn't realize how much really goes on until like this year. And I'm like, damn, y'all are really like, for example, the hope I'm saying her name right, the Shikari, she's the runner. I know we got banned for the whole weed shit. Now they mocking in your face, oh, cannabis is actually safe. I'm like, you're doing this on purpose to pull that emotion.
Clockwork. I look at it and I literally laugh now. Like, I've gotten to the point where I laugh at stuff like this now, because it's just like, it's so obvious.
It's obvious.
They do. And it's crazy too. And it's like, I don't want to say it's sad, but it's just mind-boggling how like stuff like that isn't obvious. But I have to remember I'm on a certain, people like who are more into like, seeing things spiritually or from an expanded awareness. We are so up here that things like that is just common sense to us.
Yeah.
I don't really realize how it's not to other people, and that really is just like sad. That like people have been so removed from like their center, their heart chakras, their spiritual discernment, their intuition, that they can just play in people's face like that. I just tweeted, what was it, yesterday? I was like, don't fall for this. Obviously, they're gonna take a Black woman.
Yeah.
And
you should know this by now.
Horrible to them.
Right.
And then everyone's gonna get angry about it, especially on Twitter. If I'm a businessman, and I want to promote a product and I want to do it in the most like, you know, anything goes way, I'm going to go on Twitter, say something wild that like not only the Black community on Twitter, but Black women are against. Say something wild, get everybody to tune into it, harvest the energy, transmute it into like riches or wealth, whether it comes through the business that I'm promoting or another avenue. I'm still profiting off of that energy. And I just want people to really know energy harvesting, transmuting, alchemy, that stuff is real. They get people angry on purpose to then take the energy. Obvious. Yes, transmute it and then use it. I do it myself, but I don't do it with like making people angry because I don't need to do stuff like that.
Right, no.
And I don't care to do stuff like that. But like anytime I have haters, which, you know, like
we all have,
you're in a life like this, you're going to attract a lot of like people who are like, that's crazy, that's wrong, that's, you know, insane. I transmute all of that energy, and I even have it on my Twitter page. Like anybody who throws hate at me, transmute it into wealth. There was one time I was in an argument with somebody, and it wasn't even like an argument on my end. I'm so nonchalant about stuff anymore. Like stuff right now, like when you look at life from like such an expanded view, stuff is so small. You realize
you're looking at it from like a bird's eye view. Your consciousness, because I'm glad I was tripping. I was tripping on shrooms just when I was channeling the book information, and I was like this pure consciousness mode, and I'm observing, and this is right when COVID started popping off officially, and I'm observing, and I'm like seeing the timelines like going through the streets, and I'm like, this is all orchestrated perfectly. This is all this part of the plan. One thing I've noticed though, shit so outlandish and obvious, and I was asking myself for a while, like, why aren't people being like, okay, you saying if I do this, I can get a free cheeseburger? Why aren't people questioning it? But the more outlandish and blasphemous it is, the people go wake up, because it's like, wait, that don't make no sense. But it has to be that wild and that like, how the fuck are they getting away with this? But it has to be that, because they're so sleep. They're so sleep.
And then even when things are that wild, people would like question it for like maybe 2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
And then they'll go back to sleep, because
that's wild.
That trance that they have people in is so heavy that people become dependent on it. So it's easier. Think of like a codependent relationship. When you've been with a toxic partner for 5 years, that's what you know.
Yeah.
That's where you're comfortable. So even if you guys are toxic, there's a lot of arguments and chaos and tower moments. Here, that's where you're comfortable. And especially if you're broken, which a lot of people in society are here.
Yeah.
They kind of have a toxic romantic relationship with, what is it, like programming, I guess you can call it, right? So they get really codependent on what they've been told to believe in, that even if consciously something seems off on the subconscious level, that really our subconscious mind controls us more than our conscious mind.
Right.
That's why you got to hack here, you know? You're going to hack it through your conscious mind, but you really have to hack your subconscious mind to see any change in your life or your behavior. So people have like a subconscious relationship with programming that's very toxic, that even if something doesn't seem right, they're always going to subconsciously believe in it or get defensive over it or get aggressive over it, because.
So would that be similar to cognitive dissonance? Like, it's like, no way, this isn't right at all. This can't be.
Yeah, because even if you think about it, like think of like the whole like virus situation. When you bring up information, and it can be something so simple about the virus or the quote unquote vaccine or whatever, right? When you bring that up, people get so angry.
It's turned to a religion, literally. It's like you talk about my God.
People get so angry, people get so distraught, people get so like defensive. And it's like, why are you so defensive over doctors, scientists, government people who you have never been in the same room as?
Yep.
You have no loyalty to them. Well, maybe on a conscious level, subconsciously you do.
Yeah.
On a conscious level, you have no loyalty to them. They have no loyalty to you. They don't care about you. If you were to, you know, fall out and die tomorrow, they wouldn't come to your funeral.
Hell
they
no.
wouldn't pay for your funeral like bills.
Right.
Why are you so defensive over what they tell you or what they say or what they feed you?
Is it that protective? Because you kind of put something that made me think about something. So similar to relationships, you have that codependency and it's like that toxicness of it, but you stay because it's kind of like not like a trauma bond, but you're bonding off of how much I'm gonna phrase this? You're addicted to the pain. You're addicted to the disappointment. You're addicted to knowing that, okay, this isn't working out. And the same thing with, I'm noticing with just like the government and just like public officials, you've been shown time and time again that the relationship isn't working, but you still follow blindly and then get hurt. And it's like, this programming, man.
Yeah, they're giving them like too many chances, right?
Yeah.
It's like after like a horrible breakup, you go back to
Go back.
10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all about like letting it go. But yeah, people get really like defensive about stuff like that because that's what they're programmed.
It's like it's because I've noticed I had a situation on Twitter earlier. I just made my comment about how I feel like, everything being mandatory. Just putting my 2 cents on that. I don't care what you do with your personal choice. That's your free will, and I will never, judge you or make fun of you for whatever you want to decide. My problem is just when it's being forced. That's when I'm going to speak up and say something because I'm not going to be censored. So I had a follower. She was like, I get a flu shot every year, and what's wrong with getting a COVID booster? And I took a step back and I said, you know what? Obviously, this tweet triggered you in some type of way because you responded. I've never seen you before pop up on my feed at all. This obviously triggered you. I hope you have a great day. I'm like, we don't have to agree, but just let me say what I want to say. If you feel that you want to, take it, then that's you.
Everybody can have their opinion until everybody has their opinion.
Exactly.
Then it's an issue. Yeah. I'm all about, I have so many things going on in my personal life as far as just like, tuning into my own vibration, doing readings, tapping into the astrals. My life is very spiritual. Yeah. I don't really have time to care about what people do with their everyday life.
Hell no.
I'm just here to help people understand, are you doing what you wanted? Are you doing something in your personal life because you want to do it? Or are you doing it because subconsciously you're being tricked into doing it? Because I ask a lot of people, not to keep talking about like the vaccine and stuff like that, but like I ask a lot of people who, are into the vaccine or want to take the vaccine, have you even as much as gone into Google and searched any ingredients about it?
Side effects?
Anything? Where it comes from, how it was made, who it was made by? No. So how can you believe in something 100%, but you have done nothing to research it? That's when is your decision really yours? Or is it implanted?
Ooh, but if we going deep into that as well, because I like to, same thing with you, I like to ask friends. I have friends who've taken this. I'm always curious, why did you take it? And I even asked my mom, because she told me she had both. I said, why did you take it? She said, just to make sure that if I do get it, it won't be as strong. So I'm like, okay, I just want to see people's, opinion on, why they took it. But what you said, have you done the research? What's the ingredients? Let's just take food. Just have your Aunt Jemima pancakes. Have you read the ingredients? Your Gatorade, your Pepsi, your Dasani. Have you read the ingredients? Do you know what's being into you? If you did that, then you will understand why we have hesitancy, especially when it's when you do your own research and you know what the fuck you talking about.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if you think about it, our society has become so robotic that we don't consciously live anymore. Really hacking the matrix is just consciously living.
Yep.
Most people will take a moisturizer, for example, and most people wouldn't read the ingredients of this moisturizer. So they would say the blood of like 100 babies back here. And most people didn't ever catch that because most people aren't reading it. When you live consciously, you're going to pick up a bottle and be like, well, what's in here?
Exactly.
It's something as simple as that, like wanting to dig deeper than the surface level.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes to like open your third eye, open your crown chakra, expand your awareness.
People don't want to question it though.
Looking, being curious, wondering why the sky is blue, wondering why we're humans, and like wondering why we do X, Y, and Z. It's that simple.
It's that simple. What I've noticed, so I like to have these conversations because I like to just think like, what programming is going on that people are, this sleep? And then I like to break it down. You have the music, that's a frequency right there. If you listening to, trapper, hood music, you're adopting that reality and you're adopting that frequency. Don't be surprised if a cop pulls you over kind of shit. Like you just adopting that frequency. And also say this too, for anyone who has like fear of the police and shit, all that fear does is when you pass by a cop and they're in the car, they're picking up on your vibration and they're going to literally mirror and act the programming that you're putting in because that's your vibration. And when I tell people this, they don't get it. I'm like, it's the vibration. They're picking up on that fear.
On the vibration, and even that vibration becomes so heavy and low because fear is a very low vibration.
Yeah, but
low
it's strong.
Vibrations are heavy.
Yeah.
So that when you have heavy vibrations, they anchor into your reality easier.
Yep.
And they become physical because something that moves very slow in vibration is physical, is material. We are material beings. Everything that we use is stationary because the vibrations are that slow that it's able to become a physical vessel, right? So your fear can become so thick that you accidentally swerve a little bit on the road because you're so afraid, because you're trying to be such a great driver because the police is behind you. You may swerve a little bit. Or you may like accidentally forget to put on your blinker. And that's what pulls you over. The fearful, habits, and not just you could have just been normal and not care, and that wouldn't be in your reality. The cop goes left, you go right, you go on with your day. But because you're so fearful, there could be that one little like action that you manifested that makes you get pulled over. It's all fear.
People don't want to hold themselves accountable for their creations.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I know if I experience some shit, it's me. What am I vibrating? What thought did I have that I mean? I like to analyze it.
All a learning lesson.
All a learning lesson. You go from that victim to the creator mentality. Why am I playing victim? Because everything's a gift. This conversation is us as consciousness, us as, the creators just having a conversation with ourselves. So it's a gift. We're gifting ourselves this conversation. Why would I be mad if, something happened and it's just because you're being redirected? So surrender. Life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat. That whole fucking melody is really telling you about life. Surrender and see why you were meant to, make a left instead of making a right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. When it comes to spirituality, it's just so simple. It's complicated.
Yeah.
And like I always tell people, because I get so many questions daily on my Twitter about like, how do I awaken? How do I become as spiritual as you? How do I X, Y, and Z? And the first thing I always say is experience.
Yeah.
It's like anything in life. This entire experience, this entire lifetime or many lifetimes that you have, it's all about the experiences you have and the wisdom that you take from it.
Yep.
You're going to grow and become a better person, not only just spiritually, but on an earth level or financially or emotionally or mentally, just by taking your experiences and instead of moping about them or, having grudges, about certain things, take the learning.
No grudges.
Exactly. Take the learning lesson from them and grow. That's like the first thing. It's all about experience and wisdom. It's very Saturn energy, and a lot of things in life are Saturn based. So the best way to learn about life, when everything in life is controlled by Saturn for the most part, you want to use Saturn ways of living. So a Saturn way of living is taking your experiences and taking the wisdom from them, right? Another thing is just, I don't know, it's such a hard question of how to awaken, because it just happens.
It is. I feel like the initial question that they ask you is them remembering. It's that initial question. And then once they ask that question, they're going to start seeing stuff pop up on the timeline and the reality. So whoever's watching this, who has questions, well, ask and you shall receive. Now stuff's going to pop up. It wouldn't have happened if you didn't have that initial question.
Exactly. The fact that you're curious about it is great. People don't
Right.
realize that. People
Right.
want to be able to do what I do at the beginning of their journey. And I get it.
How it
It's
works.
exciting, but that's not how it works. If I, for example, am studying to become a doctor, I can expect to have the knowledge of someone who's been practicing for 22 years.
Possible.
If I'm just starting at 1 year. So you can't break into all the crazy stuff right away, but just be thankful that you are conscious enough to want to know and or to know what questions to ask. So I guess if I could give really any advice on how to like awaken and have your spiritual awakening and go about that journey, I say it's about decoding all of life. Ask yourself, why did this happen? Why did this person say this to me? Why did I react this way? Why did I see the number 717 or 555 or 222? Go into it, become more conscious. When you become more conscious, you can tap into your subconscious where all of the magic happens, right? But you have to do it on a conscious level. So conscious versus subconscious is kind of like logic versus intuition. Look at things and analyze them that happen in your life and then connect them spiritually. You know, for example, if you see the number 555, logically analyze, what does 5 mean? Either spiritually, esoterically, or even just in general, I don't know, right? Maybe there's something in your life that's 5, maybe your child is 5, and then you connect that 555 to something happening with your child, and then or your inner child. Like you just have to really see life as a puzzle piece and connect all of the dots. Once you do that, everything, it takes practice, and then once you practice, it becomes very natural. But yeah, I would say just look at life like a decoder, or like life is a puzzle piece and everything will really make sense.
Just be curious, have a childlike curiosity to life. Don't take this shit serious. I have to call myself out when I start taking my reality serious. I say, hey, Rich, you doing it again. Come back, have fun, create.
And we're in Leo season, so it's going to be extremely easy right now to really tap into that inner child.
Exactly.
And I'm a Leo, so it's natural for me too.
We're still the kids we used to be. I've known, I want to tell, I didn't formally get to tell you that money ritual, it is fucking
money ritual. Yes, I have literally, after tapping in, I have a great friend, her name's Anel, and she has put me on to the money ritual. Every Sunday we do a money ritual. If you want to know what it is, just tap into like my page or whatever, because it's a lot to explain right now. But basically every Sunday we do a money ritual with the element of water.
Oh yeah.
And it literally, magic happens from it. And it's so many testimonies from it. Like so many people have had great stories. Like I even did it. I think the second time I did it, I made $500 in like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And that's like a small amount of money, but like it would just like
feel something.
It would just, what are the odds as soon as I do the last step, I make $500.
Exactly.
You know, like it's crazy.
I work in sales, and like literally as soon as I did that, I think I did the last month, commission skyrocket. I was like, damn, okay, it was this simple. But I bring that up to say, to tie into just manifestation and money beliefs. I've noticed, and I correct people. Like if I hear them say I'm broke or I can't afford this, I say, yeah, if you keep saying that, you can afford it. If you can't, even if you have like $1.25 in your account, never say you're broke. If you can't afford something, just say it's not a financial priority at this time. Never say you're broke. Never say you're broke.
Never say you're broke, exactly, because the I am is your ego. And contrary to popular belief in the spiritual community, your ego is very important.
Yes, it is.
Your ego is literally the way to have a spiritual awakening.
Love
and
it.
It's like the what is it, like the tunnel, the channel, or the way to have a spiritual awakening is through the ego, because your ego is the I am, but it's also your consciousness. And remember, I said to get to the subconscious mind, where all of the magic happens, you have to do it through your conscious mind. So, and to get to the conscious mind, you have to do it through the ego, the I am. So how you view yourself has a lot to do with the way you see your reality.
Yep.
Or your world, or the things that you experience. So if you call yourself broke, even as a joke, that is very important. You are going to believe on a subconscious level that, oh, I'm broke.
Yeah.
I can't afford this. I can't afford that.
Cars start breaking down, you lose your wallet, your reality gonna show that you can't afford this, all right?
And then people aren't conscious of that, so they just think, oh, it's life getting to me, or it's the universe is against me. I need to pray.
The devil was working hard today.
Exactly. Not understanding it's just the way that you view yourself. Like you view yourself as broke, so you're going to have a broke lifestyle. I mean, that's A plus B equals C. It's very simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
No, yeah, just when it comes to like law of attraction and like manifesting, people think it's just like this like crazy new agey love and light thing.
Yeah.
Like what you are is what you attract, and it's the life that you have. It's simple, you know, like it's very simple. If you put yourself in a certain position and you think about that position in a certain way, that's what's going to unfold. It's easy. If you know, light a match, throw it in a gas station, you're going to have an explosion happen. Your actions have consequences. It's literally the law of cause and effect, you know? Or the law of vibration, the law of attraction. It's very much real. It seems new agey because people don't want to take accountability for their actions and things like that. But it's very much real, and people think, oh, well, that's just something that like rich white people do, or like rich, you know, billionaires promote. But I'm here
to tell you
I'm here as somebody who's literally came from a family of immigrants who now they do, but back then when I was a toddler, didn't have proper paperwork to be here, right? My life on a financial level, damn near poverty, you know?
And you could have used that as an excuse. Exactly.
I could have used it as an excuse, but I used it as motivation.
I
used that as drive to become who I am today and to have the life that I have now. I am able to really do what I want to do in life. I'm able to wake up at whatever time I want to wake up. I'm able to make plans this day and not have to worry about X, Y, and Z or clocking out and things like that, because I manifested this. I believed in myself. I believed in my desires. I believed in my life. I believed in what I wanted out of life. And because of that, I was able to have it. So people love to throw the, oh, you're just lucky, or oh, you're just a rich white billionaire. Well, you can't say that to me. I come from immigrants. I am a Black woman. I'm statistically the person who was supposed to not be able to live the life that I
Indy,
live.
talk your shit right now.
Right? I just don't like people to like be in like a victim state or victim mentality, because I get it. We've gone through X, Y, and Z, but if there's anything that I can just drill into people's heads, like excuses aside,
fucking hate that shit, man.
Nobody cares about you. And I mean that to just be so real. These people don't care about you.
Fuck? They don't care. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No.
No, for real. Like if you passed out tomorrow, they wouldn't care. So I say that, and I really am so serious about it, because I want people to grasp this government, this system that we uphold. It doesn't care about you.
Not at all.
It feeds off of you. You are the prey. They are the predators. And they want you to be in this victim because you're a victim. You're in a victim mentality. You're making yourself a victim. So obviously when you're a victim, law of attraction, you attract predators, abusers. They are the predators. The system is the abuser. And you are identifying with the reality of being a victim. So when you identify with that reality, you become a victim. You call yourself something over and over, that's what you become. So I just want people to really know, no one, and I don't mean that to be like rude. I don't mean that to be like, oh, nobody cares about you. Your family loves you. Yeah, of course. But you came into this world by yourself. You leave by yourself. And at the end of the day, when you pass on and transition into your next life or whatever you believe in, all of these people aren't coming with you.
Nope.
So why don't you take control of your life?
That's so powerful.
And you make a difference. I always tell people, to make a difference, you had to honestly beat the system and beat the game. You got to play the game. Play the game, beat it.
Yep.
Then if you want to say, you know, F the game and you want to change the rules or you want to make a difference, make the difference, but you have to beat the game.
You gotta play the game regardless.
You will never understand its weaknesses. You will never understand how to take it down if you don't beat it first.
Because it's just like
a little bit, you know?
Right. It's just like any video game, any boss level. You gotta play the boss, and you gotta beat him. You gotta lose a few times to understand his moves and technique, and then you know how to beat him. Same shit with life. You gotta know the banking system, how the government's doing this, how they're hijacking your subconscious and creating a reality for you. You have to know how shit works, and then you can change the game.
And then you can change it, but you can't just sit around and complain about it and woe's me and all of that
Woe's me.
That doesn't do anything for you. And most of the time, those people are the ones who are miserable. Because if you really cared about the system and making a change, you would get up and you would do it. Most people who complain about it don't do it. They don't put actions behind what they complain about. And then they want to blame it on the system. Let's say you blame it on the system. Are you destined to just live a life of failure, a life of poverty, a life of being a victim? Is that what you are destined to do? If so, take that path. Of course, that has nothing to do with me for real, like, because I'm not in that, energy.
Right.
But instead of doing that, why don't you take accountability of your life, flip it, then make a change through your children, through the people you help around you.
Yep.
That's how you make a difference. You don't make a difference complaining. It doesn't do anything.
You gotta play the game regardless. There's no other way around it. You keep saying woe me, you was go create more woe me experiences that coincide with what you're doing. Now, one thing I've noticed too, and I'm always personal on this show. I have family members who, play the financial victim card or the devil's been busy. And it's like, no, what thought did you think today? Did you wake up and not express gratitude? Did you wake up and say, oh, fuck, I gotta wake up and go to work? Then shit, if you wake up with that type of mentality, then yeah, you finna experience certain shit. That's your vibration.
Yeah, it's your vibration. Everything is literally, when you look at life as just energy, every single thing is energy. This is slow energy. Air is quicker energy. When you just look at everything as energy, everything is easier to hack.
Yep.
Okay, so if I want this energy in my life, I have to match its vibration, or I have to be in an energy to attract it.
It's frequency.
Once you become more conscious of how you live and the energy you put out and the actions you take, that's when you really hack the matrix. And hack life and break, and beat the codes, right?
Beat the codes. It's one thing, like once you wake up, you've beat the matrix. You beat the matrix at that point. You cannot go back to sleep. You cannot unsee. You cannot unknow. You beat the game.
You're here, so why not have fun?
Exactly.
Why not explore? Why not beat the system and just keep it going?
Keep it going.
You can have the life you want to live. Like, it seems like you can't. Heck, me 5 years ago would have thought maybe, actually, no, not 5 years ago, because I was on the spiritual path. But let's say realistically, let's say I'm just anybody else. 2 years ago, even 3 years ago, people would have thought that they couldn't have a certain life.
Yep.
Until it happens. I actually just got a text message today from my a good friend of mine.
Oh yeah.
She texted me this morning, and it literally warmed my heart and made my day. She said, "Thank you so much. You changed my life."
Powerful.
She's in Mexico right now. She's having the time of her life.
Powerful.
And she's able to enjoy her life in the way that she wants because of law of attraction, new agey belief systems that people may knock down. It's just, proof is in the pudding.
Proof is in the pudding.
People who aren't doing the law of attraction aren't making things happen, and the people who are doing law of attraction make things happen. It's it's not rocket science. It's just,
you can have it too. You can have.
It doesn't hurt to try. Like, it doesn't hurt to try.
I've noticed too, and I'm guilty of this myself. Like I grew up in poverty. I grew up in a lack household. I grew up, not with the most nurturing parent. They wasn't able to be based off their program. It's already, I understand why. Could have used it as an excuse. Could have been, I'm gonna work at, let's just say, CVS for the rest of my life. And I don't, riches, no. I did not like sleeping in the hotel, eating TV dinners at the age of 11. I didn't like eating Wendy's at that age. I will fucking make sure that I'm wealthy as fuck, and that shit would never happen again. I after college didn't have a place. I literally slept on covers on the floor every night. And I told myself, and that's when I first got into the law of attraction. I remember I was a friend of mine had told me about The Secret on Netflix. Now, I don't give you the full wham bam, but it'll give you some things. And I remember sitting there and something clicked. I heard like a little click in my head and I felt an explosion. And I'm just seeing like all these little fireworks coming off from my head. I'm like, fuck, I create my reality. And from that moment, he's fucking game changer. What do you mean I can create all this shit?
It's the same way as like going on Instagram and creating a profile.
Mm-hmm.
You control that profile.
Yep.
You control what comes out of that profile, and you can make yourself an entire new person. Nobody will ever know that the life that you have on Instagram, and this happens all the time, the life that you have on Instagram is different from the life that you have in real life. You just created a new you, an alternate reality you that you control. It's the same as life. It's the same as life. Just make a new profile. If you want a new life, make a new profile. Everything
is frequency. So if you're trying to find your favorite hip hop station, you're not going to find it on 107.5. You go find it on 92.3. But you have to match that frequency. So even with money, if you truly don't believe that you're not deserving of abundance, you can say, I am a millionaire all you want, or I have money all you want. But until you fundamentally believe that, I am worthy of every fucking single cent that comes to me and more, that you're not going to attract that. Every time that now I get into the habit of celebrating every single win. I could find $1 on the floor. I could find a dime. I'll say, I express gratitude for this abundance. I want more, but I'm acknowledging every single thing. I'm expressing gratitude for if I make a purchase. I'm grateful that this $10 afforded me this salad. Now I get to have a healthy meal before I go lift. You have to, money is consciousness. Money is energy.
Yes, wealth is literally energy. It's currency. It's literally energetic currency. This is why when you work with ancestors, you burn ancestor money, because they can take that energy and use it however they would like in the astral, etheric, spiritual realm. You know what I mean? Whatever you believe in. But money is currency. And if you don't believe in it, you won't have it.
You won't have it.
You're gonna have a bad relationship with it. Everything is like a relationship. Like I just said earlier, my example about having a bad relationship with the matrix or the system. If you have a bad relationship with money, nothing good can be birthed from that, Everything
starts with self. If you don't have a great relationship with yourself and how you view everything around you, everything else is gonna just mirror that same sentiment. You gotta start with you. Like, guys, if you listen to the show, you are deserving of every single amazing thing that comes your way. That's your divine birthright. We didn't come here to struggle. We came here to awaken from the God dream, remember that you are God, and create heaven on earth.
Exactly.
That's it.
What's that one line that just came out with Daisy? He said, God created me in his image, call it a selfie or something.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, come on, man, you dropping bars.
And even though we know like how I feel about the word God or whatever, on a occult level, it still kind of goes back to like, you are the creator of your destiny, of your reality. And, you are the controller of your own personal inner matrix, and your own personal inner matrix is a mirror to your outer matrix. So when you can hack this inner matrix, you can hack the outer matrix and what comes to you and what doesn't come to you. So
Indy, this was such a beautiful episode. I always end it on this note with my co-host. What would your message be to humanity at this time?
What would my message be to humanity? Don't take everything too seriously. Raise your vibration, raise your frequency, and question everything that you see. Question everything that you see, question everything that you hear, especially with everything going on right now, with everything on the news and the virus and stuff like that. This is a peak time to improve your spiritual discernment. So question literally every single thing that happens in life. Question everything that you see on the news and decode it and dissect it.
Indy, this was such a fun episode. I was very excited to have you on, and this episode did not disappoint at all.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Guys, if you haven't already, hit that young subscribe button, like, comment. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about the show. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Indy's info will be in the episode description below, and check out her services, support, follow. She is an amazing person. Indy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.